Welcome, my lovely brothers and sisters. Welcome on this beautiful morning in this country, and I hope in the rest of the world too. Today, I'm going to bring another topic on which we can meditate and ponder upon. The title is Humanity's War on Humanity. Um, the majority of us likes to finger point to the echelon of this world, known as the Cabal, the Illuminati, the monarchy. Um, but in actuality, we are all part in the drama here on Earth. Since the coming of computers, um, we have started to realize a bit too late that we had a library at our fingertips. So we cannot say anymore that we did not know, because we could have known all this if we would have had a stronger desire to inform us and to educate ourselves. Um, there is a war going on. Yeah, this war, there are wars going on, which means that in actuality, there is a war going on in the military, so to say. You can say where we see military invading other countries. Then we have the most important war that is going on, that is the war on destroying the entire human race and or transform them into robots from flesh and blood from the inside out. There is also a war going on the mind of people. This is what we see. There are many acts um, going around in which they are more and more and more silencing the mind and the thought processes of humans. But I want to say that humans themselves are allowing all this to happen. So we cannot only finger point to those in the echelon of this world, whom in actuality are nothing more than proxies and minions doing the bidding and the dirty laundry of the overlords, whom are sitting with their fat ass in the astral realm. So we need to finger point to ourselves too, because we are tolerating all this to happen because, again, we lack an intense drive and motivation to inform ourselves and to educate ourselves on whom we are, on the history of this world, and why all the things that are happening now are happening, and why all this is happening, because that there is an agenda behind it, that is for sure. So let us dive into the topic of today. I am reading from Synthetic Superintelligence and the Transmutation of Humankind, a Roadmap to the Singularity and Beyond, written by Wes Penry. All right. Humans, or better said, humanity's a war on humanity. Humans and electronics. There are those who say that electronics and Wi-Fi are the most dangerous things for our health in today's world, and perhaps they are the most dangerous health risks we have ever encountered as a human species. I truly I truly believe there is absolutely truth to this, because if we see the skyrocketing in things such as Alzheimer's disease, ADHD, ADD, and so on. But also the the increase of people needing to wear glasses, so the damaging of the eyesight, um, and many other things. So not only do they disconnect us from each other by less face-to-face interaction, but the frequencies keep us in a more solid frequency prison. So all these electronics and Wi-Fi are keeping us in a more solid frequency prison. And these frequencies will eventually make us sick. And not only us, everything, nature, animals, and us humans. Wi-Fi and electronics in general destroy our neurological system, and it gives people cancer. Sorry for my throat issues. Also, I read about a study done recently which showed, contrary to the previous studies, that looking at computer screens and smartphone screens make people nearsighted. The number of nearsighted people who need glasses or contact lenses has increased exponentially since the beginning of the computer age. And this book is, mind you, from 2016, says the report. So I showed the article to my eye doctor yesterday, and he wholeheartedly agreed. Another thing that electronics such as computers and smartphones do is to make people think in black and white. Well, this is exactly what a robot does. Yeah, a robot thinks, so to say, between quotation marks, because it cannot think, of course, but it's programmed to see the things from black or white. So here already you can say that they are, from the beginning on, moving the human race toward one-sided thinking. Thinking like a robot does. So another thing that electronics such as computers and smartphones do is to make people think in black and white. According to another article in the Daily Mail, the so-called experts are alarmed because of the binary system. This is also why you need to be careful with music, because there's a lot of music on the market with binary beats. Do not listen to these music, because it rewires your brain so that it's more suitable for the cloud system, and also more suitable to be connected to the metaverse singularity timeline. Do not listen to binary music. On which computer science is built. So the binary system is the system on which computer science is built, which affects humans to think in zeros and ones, which is black and white, without also including everything in between. In other words, people stop thinking in complexities. And this is interesting, because can a robot think in complexities? No, it cannot. But step by step controlling our brain, um, they can and are able to make sure that we do not use these areas in our brain anymore that are responsible for thinking in complexities. A few days ago, I had an interesting discussion with a friend of mine in which I said, well, humanity has itself made in such a way dependent on devices such as GPS devices that tells them how to drive to a certain route, to a certain destination, instead of using road maps. um, People do not realize if you are reading a road map, you are using a particular part in your brain. You stimulate this brain. What are the controllers of this world do? They are making sure that we, who already are using just a tiny bit of our brain, are eventually even stop using that tiny bit of our brains too. So what the controllers of this world are doing is step by step making sure that we stop using our brain and will use devices instead of it. So without also including everything in between, in other words, people stop thinking in complexities. This so-called new way of thinking dumps people down significantly, and the phenomena is known as Tinderization. When humans have the options to make decisions based on just yes or no, and no deeper thinking is being used, we become more robotic over time, say the experts. The main danger in all this is that it pushes aside human connections and opts toward binary sorting techniques, such as when we swipe over the screen of the so-called smart, which is not a smartphone at all, gives us available options while we are swiping. As a matter of fact, this binary system already started with the fourth step of presenting to us multiple choice answers. And then you need to say, or is it answer A, or is it answer B, or is it answer C? That is in actuality already the first step to binariness. So this is something I got in my mind. So this so-called smartphone, which is not smart at all, gives us available options while we are swiping. And we do not even need to think. We only need to choose the option that we want at the moment. Some would say that this is so-called handy, while others who still have thinking capacities left, say it is dangerous. Yes, because as soon as we humans start stopping with using our brain, there we come into a very dangerous area. Tinder is more than just a dating app. Ehler and Pacer write it is a metaphor for speeding up and mechanizing decision making, turning us into binary creatures who can bypass underlying questions and emotions and instead do whatever feels really good in the moment to do. So you can see that all these dating platforms with their corresponding apps are all part of this uh, uh, architecture architecture of bringing us humans more and more into the singularity and thus into metaverse. So this gives food for thought. Think about the fact that all these dating platforms and all their apps are in actuality set up by the overlords to make sure that we would be pushed more and more into the singularity, into this binary system, and thus into metaverse. Yeah? So everything that is being done in this world is an agenda behind it. What is the main agenda? To push as many as possible human soul fires into the singularity and have them there for endlessly trapped. Because if your soul fire is trapped in technology, there is hardly a chance to get out of there. Better said, there is no chance for your soul fire and thus soul to leave the singularity, to leave metaverse as soon as it is completely trapped into the cloud, into technology. So you need to make a choice. Do you still want to continue following this timeline or not? If not, have yourselves completely detached from it. It's not difficult to do so. And make this choice that you do not want to be part of that world nor be part of that scenario. So that this is the main reason why I am presenting this information, because we need to make a decent choice for ourselves. Do we want to participate and end up in this singularity timeline, or do we want to experience a different type of life where technology is not the dominant factor anymore? This means that when you are ready to choose a life partner, you do not need to date a person anymore and really get to know him or her. Now, the computer app does the thinking for you, basing it on our personality. So we trust, and here it comes, we as human species are trusting a binary software. And this is the same with AI and all these AI generated apps. Humanity is having trust in software, in a binary code system. How ridiculous does that sound? So we trust binary software to make life decisions for us instead of getting to know ourselves. And how many persons in this world do really know themselves? Well, not many. And others in initial face-to-face connection and figure out what we actually feel about someone or somebody. So subsequently, if the software says someone is not a match, people tend to believe the software rather than their own judgment or gut feeling. So here you can say that uh, in every way, shape, or and form, they are doing their uttermost best to even have ourselves completely disconnected from our gut feeling and thus in intuition. Occasionally, it does happen that dating apps help somebody connect with a life partner. But this is not the point. The point with all these so-called apps or applications we download to our smartphones is so much more significant to understand than what one single app can or cannot do. This is the entire idea, which has to do with having people stop using their individual minds. So here is this Orwellian state of thinking, yeah? In the book of 1984, it is stated that eventually Humans are not allowed to think for themselves anymore. Well, in this world, you and I are already living in. And there are coming more and more laws to make sure that we stop um, thinking for ourselves. Yeah. Again, smartphone apps are a typical example of how we are being indoctrinated to stop thinking and feeling individually. This is what they want to take away from us because thinking and feeling is a human thing. Yes, so they are already since the beginning of the 1980s, they are, well, at least, and I can say to you that this whole program, this whole design that we see unfold in a rapid pace is in actuality for more than 1,000 years old. It is thousands of years old. And I want to say to you that the world that we are living in is nothing more than just a repeat of the second Atlantis, in which this also was already going on. So we are in the third Atlantis construct. Yeah. So the overlords are repeating the same circus act. Instead, we are letting AI do the thinking for us. I also want to state here, due to our incredible impatience, we want immediate answers. Yeah, and Spirit told to me that this is a huge trap for us humans. We always want to have answers immediate. We have become so incredible and indescribable impatient that we do not allow ourselves to wait for the answer to come to us. Because sometimes it takes a while before an answer comes. So this plays into the chat GPT and all that bullshit that people are using now to get an answer on their question due to their impatience and not willing to build patience to receive the answer on a moment that you can get the answer. Because then that moment is then the moment in which you also can understand the answer. So needless to say, this is all per design. And the ultimate goal is, of course, singularity. A relatively new feature that Apple developed was Siri, which is an AI software basically designed for Apple's so-called smartphones. What I say, take the smart off, because these phones are not smart at all. They are remote controllers through which the World Wide Web is controlled. They can control you through your phone. And I know that many people do not want to hear this because many people have still their fingers in their ears, but that is not the time anymore. That is quite dangerous to do so. Nothing is smart at all. Technology is not smart. Technology is nothing more than just thin air, and is in actuality, you can say, a death-based thing. So it does not contain life form, it does not contain life force, it does not contain anything. It's just something, thin air. It has the voice of a female, and it learns from the user's patterns, behaviors, and ways of thinking. She can then assist, so-called she, the robotic she, um, can then assist the users so that they do not have to think about how to use their device. No, because Siri does that for them. So this is an AI app that learns from humans, and attempts to think as humans do. How dangerous can this be? If the user keeps the smartphone long enough, Siri will be able to keep a meaningful communication with the smartphone user. Siri was met by critical acclaim when first released in 2010, which the following Wikipedia entry tells us. So Siri was met with critical acclaim for its ease of use and practicality, as well as its apparent so-called personality. And this is the danger in all AI crap. Humanity does not realize by giving this so-called, how do I say this? Humanity does not realize that they are constantly giving identity to things, to objects, and they do the same with AI. People are calling it a he or a she. How can you know it is a he or a she? It's nothing more than just stupid software. It is nothing, there is no gender to it, but humanity, the majority of humans, is adding identity to each and every object, which we should stop doing, because not everything is worth to be labeled with an identity. An object is an object. A rock is a rock. It's not a he or a she, it's a rock. A tree is a tree. However, issues did arise when Siri was used by consumers from areas within distinct accents. So we will see more and more of these similar apps flooding the market, and there is, as usual, a reason for this. All right. Besides being used to make people stop thinking individually, such apps also contribute to pooling the user's consciousness into the devices and become part of the new virtual realities that these devices offer. These virtual realities are evidently run by artificial intelligence. This is something I came to understand in 2013 already, when I met a person from Denmark who told me so. Every time if you scroll, a piece of your consciousness will be sucked into the cloud. So this is also the main reasons why everything is silica based. This is the main reason why screens have been changed into silica screens, silica-based screens. So the silica is in actuality a portal through which they, the overlords, can suck a piece of your consciousness into the singularity and thus metaverse. Yeah. We need to become far more aware with what we are playing with. It is becoming easier to see now how AI technology is sneaking up on us daily, and know that this AI is not new. It is already for more than 10 decades around us. In actuality, AI is indeed already for more than hundreds of years around us. Yeah, they are using it already for a long while. It is becoming easier to see now how AI technology is sneaking up on us daily, and our so-called electronic devices are incrementally taking our attention away from 3D and into different virtual realities. Those behind such technologies have first studied the human psyche to the extreme, and they know how people react to certain stimuli. Better said, the overlords have a technology in which they can mirror this world, and through this mirroring, they can see how we act, how we think, how we do, how we behave, how we are with each other. Um, this is a specific developed technology, and through this mirror technology, they came to understand a lot about us. With this knowledge, it is very easy to plan each step on the way to a certain goal, in this case, the singularity. Hence, we have all good reasons to be concerned about the future of humankind. I am not suggesting that 3D reality is what we should choose instead of AI and the singularity. What we call 3D, as we have discussed earlier, is also a complete deception and a virtual reality created by the same invader force. What I mean is that we do need what I mean is that we do not need to dig ourselves even deeper into the mess by wittingly or unwittingly getting lost in new layers of virtual realities. We still have a chance to get out of the 3D trap if we are to escape. This is the area in which the great danger lies. So, if we were willing, wait a minute, we still have a chance to get out of the 3D trap if we are willing to, but once trapped in the singularity, it will be next to impossible to escape. This was the sentence. This is the area in which the great danger lies. Time just recently posted an article about intrusion of privacy. Better said, do we have privacy in this world? No, we don't. In this third construct, in this matrix system, privacy always has been a illusion, a deception. There never has been privacy. The same with the Constitution. The Constitution was never made for us humans. The law system was never set up for us humans to protect us humans for all sorts of things. The military was never set up to protect us. No, nothing in this third construct known as the matrix is there for us humans. Nothing. Nothing. Everything in this 3D construct is only set up to make sure that as many as possible human souls eventually get for permanently trapped into technology, into singularity, into metaverse. Something the author knew had been going on for a long time, and she had until recently accepted it as a part of being on the internet. Her wake-up call came when she was reading a book on her iPad one day. Suddenly, a message popped up on her screen saying, "You are the 132nd user to underline this same passage." She, of course, shocked and irritated, she threw the iPad onto the bed and started thinking. She became afraid. Someone was reading over my shoulder, she said. Not a person, but a program, calculating what I found most important in the text. That is one of the main reasons I do not like to read PDF books, ebooks, so to say, or PDF files. I always print the things out because I want to have it on paper. Why? Because a paper book is something you can lay aside, and then when you are ready for the next step, you pick it up and you can open the book up exactly where you have closed it. So, and that is not with an ebook, then you have to scroll, scroll, scroll to the point where you said, okay, I leave it here. So, um, someone was reading over my shoulder, not a person but a program, calculating what I found most important in the text. Was I supposed to feel validated, to learn that a passage I noted many others also liked, or was this data only for some marketing strategy? Possibly the last. The idea of surveillance in the abstract has not bothered me as much as it perhaps should. I have um, acclimated to the notion that everything we do is findable, knowable, and marketable forever, except I believed our deepest thoughts, which is why the on my contemplative reading affected me so profoundly. Reading is my refuge from the world, and now it too had been invaded. So, sorry for the way of reading today. My throat is apparently not in good shape today. Um, Okay, the writer Carol Becker further contemplates how dependent we are all on these devices that we are using. She writes, most of us are addicted to these systems of connections. Better said, they add a specific frequency into all these devices. Yeah, they make these devices, um, better said, they add a certain frequency to these devices that constantly bombard our um, pleasure center. So all these devices are in actuality stimulating the hormonal system in us to produce dopamine. And this is why we get addicted to all these systems, to all these devices, sorry. So that is what humans do. We get addicted to the things we create. Well, I think that this addiction has become more and more because of all the technology. I think people were in earlier days um, lesser easily addicted to things than nowadays. People expect an answer and they expect it now. That here it comes, the impatience in us. At times, the ability to work depends on this immediate access. We have internalized these time slash space obligations and do not know how to step away from them. Well, you can step away from it by disciplining yourselves to do so. Who has told the human race, for instance, that we need to have the internet on 24/7? Who told us that? No one. So, who decided that the internet needs to be on 24/7 a day? Well, humans themselves. Humans themselves have done this. I bet you if you uh, take out the internet and only put it on when you truly need it, you will see differences. The fact that I have throat issues is also because I do not have the internet 24/7 per day on. I only have it on when it is needed, and as soon as I put it on, I get issues with my throat, and with in other ways I feel the how the frequencies are making me ill. So we have internalized these time slash space obligations and do not know how to step away from them. If we do not make a effort to remain balanced within the imbalance, we feel fragmented and often unhappy. This is what we already see. So I wholeheartedly agree with this insightful writer. All these electronic devices lead to separation, even though the illusion is that we are more connected through our devices. Indeed, this connection is illusion. It's all illusion, people. We are not more connected to one another. We become more separated from one another. In addition, she remarks that when using our devices virtually all the time when we are awake, and many sleep with them, we have no time to reflect on our lives. I have emphasized it before and I emphasize it again. The New World Order is not human based, it is AI and the singularity. That is the New World Order. The New World Order is not the world leaders coming together to decide through the corrupt United Nations who should lead the one world government that will be all determined after the singularity. And it is already up to the so called gods, better said, the overlords, the AIF, Alien Invader Force. Some people, or you can also say Archon Invading Force. Some people have come up with the idea to either isolate their houses so that Wi-Fi cannot penetrate or to live outside off-grid. Well, this whole off-grid living is one deception and gigantic illusion. You cannot live off-grid. All the water molecules in the air are already functioning as portals for receiving information. So all the water molecules around us are already in such a way manipulated that they can record our conversations. So there is no privacy at all in this world. Yeah, they can track and trace you. How? Because of all the nanobots that we are eating up, breathing in, that we get through the water, that we get through the beverages we drink. Yeah. And because of all these nanobots, they can track and trace us already, besides of all the biosensors in the biofield, also known as the aura. So wake the heck up and see where where this world is leading us into. So some people have come up with the idea to either isolate their houses so that Wi-Fi cannot penetrate or to live outside the grid. Unfortunately, it doesn't make any much difference. Wi-Fi is everywhere. And satellites these days cover the entire planet. You, human brothers, sisters, you My lovely, beautiful brothers and sisters, beautiful human soul fires. You do not realize in any way, shape, or form that you are enclosed in a spider's web. This spider's web is the Wi-Fi, and they are going into the lo-fi. You have everything through all the bulbs. That is why they have developed LED. LED is not there to have your utility bills lesser skyrocketing. No, LED light is in actuality a type of light that also records what we do, what we say. There is it has a recordable function in it. Yeah, same as the street lanterns. Everything is already um, in such a way created and built that it is able already to track and trace us and to send all this data to the satellites. There are several supercomputers on this planet that collect all these data. So now you get the understanding why there is such a hurry with the building of all these mega data centers. Yeah, you humans need to realize this. Yeah, so we need to see as an entire human soul group that we are already entrapped. But we can leave this entrapment by making the right decisions, by acknowledging that we are participating in our own death-based system, that we are the ones that are creating and terraforming this new prison system, that we are the ones that need to wake up to all this, that we are the ones that are able to turn the tables, but then you need to inform and to educate yourselves also in this matter. Yeah. Um, so we need to realize as humans that this Wi-Fi is the spider's web. Yeah. And the satellites are another spider's web, the one placed above us. The Wi-Fi is the spider's web beneath our feet, so to say. Although living outside the grid would be better than living in the cities, we would still be exposed both to Wi-Fi, chemtrails, which are already difficult to call chemtrails because they are spraying far more than chemicals only. What I say, they are also spraying the sky with nanobots that we are inhaling, that your pets are inhaling. So we as humans are killing our home planet. Let this sink in. This planet is your home, is our home, is my home. We in togetherness are killing this world. And all the nanobots that are also being sprayed through the chemtrailing and are being added to the tap water and so on, so on. The only ways to protect ourselves is to gain knowledge about what is happening and make a conscious decision not to get caught up in this madness. But it is also important to protect ourselves metaphysically. I explain in detail how to do this in the West Penry papers and in my previous ebook, Beyond 2012, a handbook for the new era, which you also can buy in a paper book form. If I may say, it would be already a grand idea to stop publishing ebooks and go back to paper books. That would be already a huge good step. In addition to containing some unique information, the ebook is full of useful exercises how to protect ourselves against psychic attacks. So the book can be downloaded for free. In the following, that was a video. All right, I am not exaggerating every time I emphasize to the reader that we are very close to being trapped for permanently in this singularity and thus into technology. And I know that many people do not want to hear this. Every time I say this, people leave. It says all about the fact that you are not willing to hear the diehard truth. You are not willing to hear that your soul shall be entrapped for eternity in technology. And what I say, the chances for your soul to get out of it are very slim. Since we have mentioned Wi-Fi and how it is distributed over the planet, there is a so-called Apple app. Well, I think this is not relevant anymore. You can look up for yourselves how the Wi-Fi grid is across the entire Earth, and then you can see it yourselves. All right, the global war zone. So behind the scenes, there is so much going on that regular people have no clue about. No, they don't, because I know that the technologies behind closed doors that are awaiting to be enrolled are already far more advanced than the things that we are using. They make us believe that we are using the most advanced and up to date things. Well, in actuality, that is of course not the case. They go on with their day-to-day life thinking that everything that is happening around them is just the way life is supposed to be. No, people think that they live a life, but I can tell you, humanity is not living a life, humanity is living death. Yeah, and started to see this as life. So they think they live life by going on vacation, buying this, buying that. You do not live life at all because you do not experience life. That's what life is. Life is experiencing things. Life is being in connection with your spirit and being spirit led. Then you are living life. Humans who do not have other humans' best interest in mind are creating silent wars against their own species, which is the height of insanity, and they think are doing it for our own good. Above our heads, we have the chemtrails. Beneath our feet, we have the secret underground bases. On the ground level, we have nuclear power stations that blow up and slowly kill us with radiation. We have pollution after pollution. We have those who purposely turn men against men, and in space, we have satellites that can zoom in on each one of us and watch every move of us. Moreover, we have weapons in space that could easily destroy the entire planet. This seems too much to handle, but the solution is still the same. We need to raise our consciousness and awareness and not go into battle with any of those forces. This idiom, this saying about knowledge is power, yes, it is, but you have power and power. Use knowledge in a way that it wakes you up, that it gives you an raise in consciousness and in awareness so that you can make decent decisions. Even if we would consider such a thing to be justified, we wouldn't stand a chance against them. The only way to defeat them is with peaceful means. These beings are warlords, and real peace is something they cannot comprehend. No, they lack spirit. And this idea of peace is all coming from our spirit. Those who do things to hurt others as a means to reaching their goals will eventually meet their own fate. We do not need to worry about that. Let the dead bury the dead. And this is so true. I want to go to a last piece, which I think is quite interesting also, and a warning to all parents. Technology and children. Because technology and children, there are far too many parents whom are allowing their child to be on a tablet, a so-called smart dash phone or a i-dash phone, without informing themselves the consequences that are behind it when you connect your child to it. First and foremost, the child's brain will be manipulated by all the frequencies and wave spectrum that these devices are built upon. Never give a child a phone or a tablet under the age of 12 years at least. All right, technology and children, this is the last part. According to Ray Kurzweil in his book, The Singularity is Near, the singularity will, as we have discussed, be a new virtual reality, i.e. a new hologram within a hologram within a hologram, which makes it virtually impossible to escape the alien slash Archon invaders trap. Now, is there a more sophisticated way for the young people of today to prepare for this new entrapment than just to play ordinary video games? Yes, there is. And we need not go any further than to look at Amazon.com. There is now a new game called Mindflex that works via a headset, and this is what it says in the online promotion of this product. A lightweight headset containing sensors for the forehead and earlobes, measures your brainwave activity. This is also one of the reasons why you should not wear wireless earbuds, because this same technology is in the wireless earbuds. If you are wearing wireless earbuds, you are connecting yourselves to technology that is able to mess with your brainwaves. Use wired earbuds. When you focus your concentration, a small foam ball will rise on a gentle stream of air. Relax your thoughts, and the ball will descend by using a combination of physical and mental coordination. You must then guide the ball through a customizable obstacle course. The various obstacles can be repositioned into many different configurations. So MindFlex TM combines advanced technology with the power of thought to create an interactive experience unlike any other, a game where players compete in the ultimate mental marathon. And this game is for ages from 8 years and up. Quite dangerous. Uh, so we need, better said, the parents in this world need to think deeper behind giving their children things such as tablets and smart dash iPhones. Um, because in actuality, by giving this to them, you are connecting their brains to the singularity and thus metaverse. And if you give your child, and I see already children from under the age of 4 years whom are walking around with a so-called smart dash iPhone, and this means that the brain that is still in development is being sucked into the singularity and thus into metaverse time after time when the child is using this device or devices. Um, Psychic abilities are a part of being human in our original state. Everything that makes us more psychic will be attractive, especially to the young people. So this is also something we need to take in consideration. A pledge to all mothers. Here's a pledge to all the mothers in the world who now have relatively small children or babies, to those who are to become mothers in the near future. Do not let your little children slash toddlers play with electronic devices of any kind. Some of you mothers will notice that your child of 2 years old can unlock and navigate touchscreens almost as well as you can. At first, you may think it is cute and say to your husband that your toddler is a genius, and you might even encourage your child. In fact, this phenomenon is becoming more and more of the so-called norm, according to a report from Reuters. Reuters Health. By age of 2, many children can unlock and navigate touch screens with ease, swiping their way through apps much like their parents do. A small Irish study suggests that's because regular use of smartphones and tablets appears widespread even among children as young as 1 year old. And most parents who have touch screen devices download apps and games specifically for their toddlers to use, as the study found out. I know that my neighbors have a child, and they were giving this child already uh, long before her second year a tablet, and they placed this child in front of a tablet screen saying, oh, here you can watch a cartoon. Why? Because then the parents could be with each other, and so the child was placed behind the tablet, and yeah, this is how it goes. So Um, this is alarming but not surprising, and it will be interesting to see whether being capable of navigating a smart iPhone at the age of 2 will be a measuring item on the pediatric cognition form at the pediatrician's offices soon. The generation that is being born now is very different from previous generations in that these children come here to Earth with a different goal. A goal they more or less all have in common. They are here for the machine kingdom. They are here for the machine kingdom. And I know that they already have technologies and they use satellites and whatever they can use and all sorts of frequencies to already mold the brain of a child in the mother's womb. Yeah? So all these children that we see around us that are already between quotation marks so smart with devices, they are already connected to the singularity, and they are here to make sure that the generations um, before them will be more pulled into the singularity. And this is why we see that young people are educating elderly people how to use a mobile phone, how to use a tablet. Their main goal is already in their program to bring these generations into the machine kingdom. Yeah, because that is what singularity is. It is the machine kingdom. The generations that went through the nanosecond, which was between 1987 and 2012, when time sped up a millionfold and the spiritual learning curve was enormous. Our now being replaced by a generation that wants to incarnate in our time because of artificial intelligence, AI, and the singularity. These children are very technically savvy. They are like little technological Mozarts, but they are not primarily here to play piano and compose music, so to say, electronic music. The main purpose of these children are and is they are here to become cyborgs and to become parts of the singularity. What the parents will notice is that these children are more or less driven by what can best be described as an obsession. How many parents are frustrated by the fact that they see and observe that their children um, have difficulties with detaching themselves from these devices? How many parents are struggling these days to have their child detached from the internet, from the computer, from computer games, and whatsoever? Yeah? At an age when previous generations of babies played with plastic toys, this generation masters electronic devices. Many of these children will grow up and become important components of the new society to usher in the singularity. Yeah? Um, this is a book from 2016, so not that old yet. I already have mentioned this in the online book reading video lab, babies, and so on. Um, so this means that the writer Wes Penry already told us that cyborg humanity is already among us. Yeah. But I still encourage parents not to let their children have electronic devices at their disposal when they are toddlers. These devices will be around them in every walk of life when they grow older. But by not giving them these destructive tools while they are babies and children, at least you are doing your best to save your children. Although it might seem almost impossible to create a meaningful future for the new generation with such a destructive goal as the singularity being close. Now you get the understanding why so many children are not really inspired to go into nature, are not really inspired to have themselves connected with nature, because nature is nothing more than just an irritated thing, an object in their dictionary. Yeah. They do not see nature as their former generations do see nature. Nature is a living library, and we are keys to this living library. So, in actuality, by allowing artificial intelligence to rule our lives, what is in actuality going on, humanity is destroying the living library known as planet Earth. Yeah? By terraforming this planet into the design the overlords, the alien slash archon intruder forces want us to terraform this planet into. So it is not an impossible task to educate some of the machine riders. Instead, take them out in nature, show them the sun, the creeks, the grass, the squirrels, have them listen to the birds and have them feel the breeze. Go somewhere remote away from the cities and enjoy the silence of nature with your children. Be a real family. If you are lucky, your children will convert themselves to nature instead of being absorbed by their devices. So this is what it actually boils down to, making a choice between nature and machine at an early age by investing in achieving this with your child. Unfortunately, we already see that the school system is transforming itself into a machine system. Yeah, I already see that the school system is using tablets and gigantic computer screens in the classroom. So the educational system is already being transformed into machine kingdom educational system. And parents are participating in this because they lack informing and educating themselves about this singularity. Singularity is directly leading us into the machine kingdom. And again, the educational system is transforming already itself into machine kingdom learning. Yeah, system. By investing in achieving this with your child, you may help save another soul from eternal entrapment. You will get an awakened child instead of a child trapped in virtual realities. Parents who really love their children and care for them with all their might cannot let them get lost in electronics. If the parents do let them grow up with electronic devices, they will send their children directly into something where death would not only be a relief, but the only release from bondage. However, once in the trap, there is no release because there is hardly any death. And even if death would occur in certain situations, such as in very severe accidents, the mind would have been so programmed that it would only know of one place to go after death, dash back into a new cyborg, even if it would have to wait a long time for a new cyborg to be created. Letting our children play with touch screens and swipe as toddlers will have a very, very, very damaging effect on them. It will be very hard for them to build intimate relationships with friends and eventually the opposite sex except through devices. There will be very little face-to-face interactions. Children and adolescents have already started texting their friends who walk beside them instead of talking directly to them. And this is dramatically um, increasing. We are creatures of nature, but these days, when everybody is stressed and overworked, many people can only commune between home and work and seldom get the chance to connect with the earth itself. The new generation will do so even less. In fact, nature will not excite them at all. So now we see why everything is being done to make sure that nature is no longer an excitement place to be. That's why there is so many chopping of trees going on. To make nature more ugly, it will be of no interest for these younger generations anymore. They will spend all their time on electronics. So I will end this up because there's a repeat going on in actuality, which is the definition of virtual reality. What is around them will no longer be real. The reality will be and already is in actuality inside their devices, and that is where their minds will dwell too. So they get sucked into these digital devices and prefer that reality over nature. All right. As parents, do not feel as if you are failing if you cannot convert your child into being part of nature. You can only do so much. All right. Well, this what parents need to do is being more conscious parents, which means how hard it will be. Get your child often away of these devices. Better said, do not let them play with it when they are babies, toddlers, and young children. We need to remember that children are adult souls in a small body. This is going to be a tough lesson for many parents. You may be powerless to deal with this challenge, but after all, as parents, we can only guide. What the children then do with their lives is entirely up to them. But if we start at the base by guiding them already in a more into a direction that will disconnect them far more often from these devices, the better. Uh, so this is something we need to realize as parents. We need to realize that we are need what do I say? We need to realize as parents that yeah, we have in a certain way a huge influence in the life of a child at the beginning of it. So if the beginning of the life of a child is already far more steered into the direction of being connected with nature, being part of nature, then the chances are there that eventually the grown up, the adult human, also cares more about nature than about devices. All right. With this said, I have come to the end of this book, life book reading today. Let this be a warning. And also, I want to say to you, inform yourselves about what singularity means, what metaverse means in actuality. Do not participate um, in it from an automaticness, but really inform yourself so that you can make a conscious decision. Um, we already were warned in many ways, shapes, and forms this day and age that we are in. We need to make conscious decisions. We need to decide for ourselves, do we really want to participate any longer into this singularity? Um, all right, thank you so much for listening. And I wish you all a beautiful day filled with a lot of love, joy, wisdom, and true revelations coming from your own spirit and from your own DNA. Um, and let us close off with a very short piece of music coming from Band Sound called entitled Hope. See you next time.